Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandirno, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining me is Tal Hayek, CEO of Nasdaq-listed Acuity Ads, which provides targeted digital media solutions, enabling advertisers to connect intelligently with audiences across digital advertising to discuss the ad space. It's great to meet with you, Tal. Welcome to Trade Talks.
Thank you. My pleasure.
What has been the impact of big players like Apple and Google on the advertising ecosystem?
I think you're referring to some of the new regulations. So I think we have to break it down into two. So let's talk about Google for a second. Google came out last year and said they will start phasing out third-party cookies. Earlier, a couple of months ago, they kind of rescinded on that and said, we're not going to do that for at least 2 more years. And that's, I think, doubtful that they're doing that. I think for the ad tech space, as an industry, we started working very well together. So it's the first time we're working together with our vendors, with our suppliers, with our customers, with our competitors, in order to achieve some kind of a new way of really identifying people and consumers, so we can show them targeted ads. So that's about it. I think the solution that I believe is going to be the winner is some kind of a universal ID solution. There's many of them out there right now. From our side, we're working on all of them, but one of them or many of them are going to catch. But that's actually a much better system than the third-party cookies that was never designed to do what it's doing today.
Tal, why do you think ad-supported streaming is the future of advertising?
Well, that's a big question, but let me answer it in a few different ways. I think as consumers, I know myself, if I'm paying for streaming, when it was only Netflix, it was great. $10 a month, it was perfect. And then more of them came in, and now we're in a situation that I think I'm paying, $150, $200 a month, and I still don't get the same things that I used to get with cable. So I don't think that's a viable solution. I don't think the consumers are going to continue paying that kind of money for less services than they're used to. I think at the end of the day, there's going to be a solution that will cost you more or less as cable, let's say $50 to $75 a month, and you should be able to get everything you want with that. But that means that there's not enough, subscription fees for everyone. And on the internet, it works great. I mean, the content is provided by advertisers, and it's there for free for the consumers. Mostly TV was that way as well. Most of the content was paid for by advertisers, and was free for the consumers. And I truly think that's the model that's going to happen here too.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. And what are some significant ad tech IPOs and M&A activity that you've seen in recent months that look interesting?
Oh, well, obviously, we've seen many of them. Up to very recently, there were not a lot of companies successfully public on the Nasdaq or on the stock exchange in general. Look, it's an industry that started about 11 years ago. There was a lot of investment in the space. So obviously, there would have been thousands of companies. We've seen some companies that were there to grab market share, and they're doing great with that, but they could not do it in a profitable way. They eventually went away. We've seen some companies who consolidated, and some companies that are successful and some that failed. I think the ones that are doing it in a profitable way, that are proving the model and are still growing, those are the ones that are successful and getting even the multiples out there.
So do you think we'll see more consolidation in this space?
Definitely. I mean, I can speak for ourselves. We have we went IPO'd on the Nasdaq recently. We raised for us a lot of money. We have money in the bank account, and we truly believe in M&A. There's 2 reasons for us to do M&A. The main reason would be to invest more in Illumin, which is the product that we believe is changing the world of advertising, and to add more components to it, components that are already in the roadmap for it. So we can do that through M&A as well. And then the financial leverage on our model is extremely great because most of our expenses are fixed. So adding more revenue on top of it makes it highly profitable.
So tell us more about Acuity Ads. What are you providing for the ad industry?
So Acuity Ads is in the programmatic marketing space. So it's really the process of buying and selling digital ad units in a split of a second. Everything happens in an auction-based system, and happens every auction closes in 50 milliseconds, and we do this over 100 billion times a day. So that's all done by AI, and the job of the AI is to deliver a return on investment, a positive return on investment to the advertisers. Recently, we launched a new platform called Illumin, which we truly believe is changing the world of advertising. It really closes the gap that we have out there between the way marketers think and plan, which is consumer journey, and the way that programmatic gets executed, which up to now was completely black box, but Illumin now exposed all that. And the second thing, Illumin is a drag and drop system, so you do not need to be a highly trained expert to use it. It's any average person can use it.
That's so interesting that it's done on an auction basis. So Tal, to wrap up here, what's your outlook here? What's the strategy for future growth for Acuity Ads?
Well, there's a number of future growth that we're looking at. We touched on M&A for a second, but we also think organic growth is extremely important as well, and that's been our focus. You can see our Illumin revenue is growing like crazy, and we're very happy about that. So we're focusing on Illumin. We're focusing on getting more and more of the brands adopting the new way of running programmatic and digital in general, which is, focus on the consumer journey. Instead of repeating the same messages over and over to the consumers, you bring the right message at the right time where they are on the consumer journey. So that's have been our focus.
And that makes sense. All right, Tal, appreciate the insight. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandirno, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.
Thank you.